Welcome back to the Hoops Temple podcast. Y'all know me, Nathan Schwartz, and joining me from Sacramento, Aaron Schroeder.
Good to see you guys. I say I missed the hat memo. What happened to that? Am I not on an email thread?
You just don't have Facebook, so the real conversations go down in Messenger.
Right. All right.
Me and Nate are on Snapchat for a couple hours before every episode, just sending each other fit checks to coordinate.
Listen,
Yeah,
I lined up this fit, and Dylan's like, too many buttons. You gotta undo second button because you got the chest hair. So that's really where it's at.
Yeah,
of course.
The chest hair is the key, man. I'm telling you.
Of course, joining us from New Zealand, already jumped in the vocals. We've got Dylan Williamson. How you doing, Dylan?
Kind of hungover. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too. This is great.
When you messaged me, when you messaged the chat to coordinate times, I was literally in a nighttime club at 1 a.m. So you guys want to do a pod in 8 hours? I was like, all right, sweet, I'll go home now.
What time is it there in New Zealand right now? It's noon?
Yeah.
It's perfect time.
He's recovered.
Yeah.
Oh,
that oat milk flat white will cure me.
What?
Yeah.
What is milk flat white?
Is it coffee?
Oat milk.
Is this something we don't have in this country?
Oh yeah. Americans don't understand coffee. That's right.
What do you mean by that? You tell me there's another layer to coffee? I don't understand.
You guys don't have cafes, right?
What are you talking about? Cafes.
You're like Starbucks dominates your coffee scene.
Yeah,
you don't have proper
it's
coffee.
very commercialized.
You can't go
scene.
to
There are coffee shops. I'm gonna go to a cafe tomorrow and send you a picture and be like,
right. Or order a oat milk flat white.
Okay, I got that.
That's the go-to.
I mean, my go-to is a Red Bull boba energy drink mocktail right now.
Okay. He's doing hard. When you talk about exercising, you want to train to failure. Don't forget to train the most important muscle to failure, your heart. Train your heart to failure.
If it's not going to explode, it's not good enough.
There you go.
But gentlemen, we've been on break for a little bit. Just more of a trying to coordinate the podcast between 3 different time zones, 2 different countries, 2 different continents, 2 different sides of the globe. A little bit difficult sometimes.
I'm in a club.
While you're in a club, this is dedication to the craft. You are out there clubbing, and the call goes out. You're like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta head home. I gotta be a responsible adult. I have a podcast with 2 guys that is in America that I have got to make. So I appreciate your clubbing efforts. It's being suspended for a moment.
Yeah, thank you.
But we're in the second round now. And so we must begin this pod with the most pressing topic after oat milk coffee, which is an email from the viewers. We take emails, hoopstemple@gmail.com, asking us about the Detroit Pistons. And so I'm going to attempt to read this aloud, but reading never goes well. It's not my strong suit. Not like I went to college to, do books and shit. But
do books.
Literature, English was going to be a teacher. Life didn't pan out that way. Now I'm in finance.
That's your way of describing a English degree.
Yeah, I do books
doing books.
All right, from my guy Mitch. Good morning, which I actually don't believe it is morning for any of us at this moment. But good morning, longtime listener reaching out today, hoping to pick your brains on a topic that has been lingering in my head of late. It could be quelled or exasperated by the upcoming playoffs, now the post-coming playoffs, or as this was written a while back. How transferable is the Pistons' success this season? Are they merely benefiting from a weak East and doomed to not replicate such a record? Think about that 40-plus win Charlotte team from a couple of years ago. Will it be like the Light the Beam Kings, sorry, Aaron, and falter after making the offseason once? What is the best way for them to continue pushing their way up the standings and perhaps become a contender out of the East?
That's a great question. That's a great question. To get stuck around 40 wins is a scary place
Mhm.
to be. I think fortunately the weak East that Mitch is mentioning is probably always going to be there. Getting into the playoffs, getting to the play-in isn't going to be like the most challenging thing year in and year out. Cade Cunningham's still only 23 years old, or maybe he's 24 by now. But to have, honestly, I think I look at here. Let me take a second. This is how I measure teams. If you replace its best player with LeBron, how many articles per week about the amount of help LeBron has would be posted? And the Pistons are getting multiple articles per week. They're saying he doesn't have enough help, but I think they were still so good off that. Just a ton of 3-point shooting, and Cade Cunningham really looked like an offensive star, and is probably going to be in our top 15 heading next season. It's always hard to project like, oh, what moves can they make? But I don't really feel like they just gonna have to keep this ship steady. What do you guys think?
It is interesting because they're one of the few teams in this offseason that can have cap space. And that depends on what they want to do with guys like Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway, who are not exactly super high demand NBA stars, but played really important roles for these guys. Beasley, especially with his outside shooting, opening up the driving lanes for Cade. But I mean, the fate of any team, I think, is intrinsically tied to the development of their star player. If Cade Cunningham continues to progress as an offensive player, which he has done at a massive rate, already outperforming my expectations for him, where I was a little bit lower on his ability as a point guard and as a playmaker. If he can continue to develop and get this offense from mediocrity, which is where it was, where they were mired in this past season, if he can really drive a top 10 sort of offense, then you really get into contender status. And the East, like you said, Aaron, is always weak, and it's probably going to get maybe even worse depending on what the Bucks decide to do. Teams ahead of them could just take themselves out and implode, and there's not really a great up and coming Eastern Conference team to surpass them. You've got, unless you're a big believer in the development of future All-Star Josh Giddey. And so
I think I'm all right.
What about the Jalen Johnson, kind of Atlanta Hawks rise?
Actually, though, I'm pretty into the Hawks, but sorry, continue.
The Cooper Flag experience joining Scotty Barnes.
Possibly. I look at Asar Thompson. I'd like to think that Asar Thompson can be as good as Amen Thompson. Hypothetically, you'd think that'd be possible. With it's two different scenarios. Houston really needed more offensive creation, and so they gave Amen way more looks, and he developed faster because of that. Where Asar doesn't have that kind of responsibility with Cade Cunningham on the team. I still think he can be as good as Amen Thompson, but the injuries, I think he played 50-something games. You'd hope with a full slate of games, he could develop more and just be really good while he's on the floor. And maybe they could trade Jalen Duren. I think that's probably the next logical piece to me. I don't think Jalen Duren's very good. Maybe I have a weird Jalen Duren issue, but yeah.
I'm higher on Duren. It feels like he's been around the league for a couple of years now. He's 21. Like he is younger than Cade. He is younger than Asar Thompson. I'm willing to give him a little bit more time because you don't find big men with that level of athleticism, that bounce, that could develop. Maybe he's never anything like all-star level, but I think he's going to be a good rim running presence to have around Cade, and he does put good rim pressure on teams. Like in the Knicks series, he was able to attack Karl-Anthony Towns and really make it difficult for the Knicks to have him out there. My thought process on what the Pistons need to do to become a real contender is just find a second star. I've seen people say that's Jaden Ivey. I am incredibly low on Ivey. I don't think the fit of Cade and Ivey is going to go great in the long term. Maybe that second star is Asar. I attribute more of his development or lack thereof to having played for Monty Williams, who just did not give a fuck about anything when he was in Detroit. He was just like, cool, you guys are going to keep paying me? Great. Let's run out Killian Hayes.
Not only Hayes, but You know who his other favorite player was, and this name might sound unfamiliar because he went from starting on the Pistons to entirely out of the league. You guys remember the Isaiah Livers experience, where he was like the
Oh yeah.
one guy on the team that could kind of shoot, and so Monty just like started him every game.
Yeah.
Is that why they won 14 games last year? Now, Nate, I'm
Yeah.
curious why you're out on Ivy. I like Jaden Ivey. He shot 40% from three in his time this season before getting injured. And I thought there were flashes to show that he could play off ball next to Cade Cunningham. And they certainly, it's not like they had an excess of on ball creation. We saw that in the Knicks series. Like having someone who could put the ball on the floor be really valuable for them. I think they'll be better next year than they were this year.
I want someone who's next to Cade to do something different than what Cade does well, which is a lot of the on ball, which is a lot of the downhill attacking. And like, that's pretty much the same thing that Ivy brings. Yes, he shot 40% from three. I think it's a small sample size that I don't entirely trust. It's also 5 3-point attempts per game. That's not anything too high. Like, I
That
think if
is
you're
high
going to have a second
volume.
star, I want to
Nate,
have it
that's high
some
volume.
five
Give me a fucking break.
five
That's
3-point
that
attempts
40%, 5 a game.
How many
That's
people do you think
plenty.
are shooting 5 3-point attempts a game this season?
40.
I can pull up the numbers right now.
40.
How many?
40?
5 a game? Getting up qualified shooters at 5 a game?
Hang on. We can
Taking
do
5 threes.
We can do cleaning the glass
78.
shooting frequency percentile.
I was halfway there.
So
yeah, halfway there.
So every team has what, like a little more than 2? And maybe I think honestly, you know what it is? I'm watching way too much Kings basketball. You guys are taking threes. You guys are taking 3-pointers. Is that
so
my bad?
Jaden Ivey takes 1/3 of his shots as 3-pointers, which is 23rd percentile among what cleaning the glass categorizes as combo guards. And so for guards, the volume is obviously a lot higher.
What's a team that could be interested in someone like him that we could try to maneuver this like second star that Nate's proposing?
Well, the thing is that you want to find a second star that does something different than what Cade does, or like it kind of pairs well, which the Thompson idea does pair well because he can be that elite defensive stopper where you've got Cade driving the offense and Thompson driving the defense. Upgrading Duran to something that it could be more of a pick and pop big as well as a like downhill big. Like
they got Beef Stew on the bench. Let Beef Stew shoot threes again.
I'm just saying, I want something a little bit more different that can be complementary as opposed to more of a duplication of what Cade does.
What kind of contract do you guys think Tim Hardaway and Malik Beasley are going to get?
I mean, Pistons have money and not. I mean, I would expect there not to be a ton of interest in going to join Detroit. So I'd imagine that these guys could get decent short-term contracts that'll be higher dollar values than they've ever gotten before in their careers, just with cap continuing to go up, but like 2 years max.
I don't know. I feel like Malik Beasley is worth more than that. He's only 28. Like he was legitimately great throughout the regular season. Tim Hardaway is somehow 33 years old.
Yeah, Malik's probably like a full mid-level kind of guy. For the teams that have that available, like, he's a pretty easy fit apart from being like one of the worst defenders in the league. But the offense is obviously valuable. And so I think full mid-level for Beasley. And then Tim Hardaway is he's been overpaid somehow his entire NBA career, so it'll be interesting to see if the market recalculates his value or if he continues to get these like $20 million a year contracts.
He's making 16 right now, and it's interesting. I do feel like now he's worth 16. Like now you'd pay him that much money with like when you first paid him that it was way too much, but now it's like 16 makes sense. A couple other pieces before we talk about the current playoff teams. Ron Holland, still only 19 years old at just 19. I mean, That dude has heart. He like the Pistons had a real identity, and that's the really made them so special this year. It's like they were tough all year, and also Dennis Schroeder got traded like 6 times in one afternoon, and I think every team that traded him could have used him. He was good. He was legitimately good in the playoffs.
Did you
Of
catch
the free agent.
Koki on The Athletic? He was on the Saturday Slam Jam maybe a week or two
I
ago.
missed him. I missed it.
Texted him. I mean, it was a great episode. But one of the trivia questions was, can you name the 8 teams Dennis Schroeder has played for? And I kept guessing, like I knew most of the teams. But then there was one team that I couldn't remember. I forgot that he ever played for Boston. But I was like, Utah? Did he
I
ever
wouldn't
play
have
for
got that.
Utah? Like the Lakers, I know he got traded to Utah twice, but I don't think he ever played there. And sure enough, he never played for the Jazz. He just got traded there and then rerouted multiple times in his career, which is just a funny thing to have had happen. But we have active series going on. And so I think the most appropriate way to start things off would be to talk about the series that's going into play, their game closest to the time of this being published, just in case you only have time to listen to like the first 20, 30 minutes that you want to hear about that. So I believe that is going to be the Cavs Pacers series. And I wanted to ask this question in kind of an unusual way. I was trolling Pacers TikTok and found out that there's a girl, Cammie, who apparently posts Pacers jersey thirst traps every time before the Pacers win. And it's become like a thing. If she doesn't post a thirst trap, the Pacers lose. So I wanted to ask this to the two of you, gentlemen, who have never seen your franchises win a title. Would you post a daily thirst trap if it guaranteed your team a victory?
Yeah, I would do that.
How far would you go? If God called you Aaron Schroeder, let's say you're in a near-death experience. You're in a near-death experience. You can speak with God. You ask him, God, what is it going to take for the Kings to win a title? And he says, Aaron, you got to start an OnlyFans. Do you do it? What level of dedication do you have to get this Kings title?
Yeah, guys, I would do that. Would you not do that? I would do that. I'll do that. I'll do it right now. You're asking me to post my bare ass for the Kings to win a title? Yeah, I'll do it.
Dylan, same question.
I wonder if it's like almost the opposite effect. Like if you're like you're a TikTok baddie posting thirst traps, then that's a plus. If you're me posting thirst traps, maybe that's like a curse. And so maybe the alternative would be that I should have been posting Denver Nuggets thirst traps during our last series, and that may have had some adverse effect upon them.
Are you suggesting I'm not a TikTok baddie? What are you suggesting here?
No comment. All right. Pacers are up 2-0.
That's a side of NBA TikTok I wasn't familiar with. I didn't know that there were NBA baddie TikTok pages.
Did not know it either. But you just start Googling for Pacers takes, and that's where you find yourselves.
Or is that like when there's a dearth of actual content, it's like devolves into thirst traps, and there's like people have like so few takes about the Pacers that no one really cares, and so all that's left is that lowest common denominator of thirst traps.
I have a question.
Nate, has it dropped the handle? Is that the question?
Did you is this something that you saw someone else talking about, or did you see the thirst traps yourself and then piece together that she was only posting before wins?
I was going through Pacers TikTok and I saw her post one of those the sound of like, I'm tired, Grandpa. Well, that's too damn bad. The holes. And the caption was, when you realize when you post thirst traps, the Pacers win. And she's like, I'm tired. heard of doing this,
Mm.
and then the like Pacers fans, that's too damn bad. I didn't verify what the postings were, but I found this to be a really humorous instance, and I was like, this could make for an interesting comment.
That was a
Interesting
good
little
recovery, Nate. Like I didn't scroll through all of her videos to verify whether that was true or not.
Nate has like the yarn tied together in pictures. She only posts when the Pacers win. I'm telling you guys.
Listen, the lack of knowledge is sometimes more fun than digging into and like finding things out. It was like, did you do this once and it happened to work, or like, was this consist? I don't want to know those details because then I know too much.
It was actually throughout the entire 82 game regular season. Every time, every win.
Listen, do you guys have those game superstitions of like you watch a game with a friend and the team loses, and you're like, I'm not watching games with you anymore. Like,
yeah, my only one is that we will always lose if I don't watch.
So you have to watch every game.
No matter what team I'm supporting in what sport,
you have
we'll
to
always
watch
win
it.
if I watch and lose if I don't watch.
I feel like I almost feel the opposite. I feel like I can't watch.
For me, growing up, it was my mom. If my mom tried to watch games with me, I was just like, "Don't do this, Mom. This game matters. You can't like." So
she was a curse.
So
your poor mother.
Yeah, yeah, she was. I love her.
I
I say this on Mother's Day Eve, but like, I'm not trying to watch a playoff game with you, Mom.
Sometimes we'll watch games as a family, and like my dad will get up and go to the garage or something, and like the Kings will start doing well, and then he comes back. My mom's like, "Do not come back! Like they were go back to the garage. They were doing well when you and and he's like, I'm not controlling it. Like, it doesn't work like that.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But all right, we should actually talk about this series a bit because it's interesting. The Pacers go up 2-0. In Cleveland, winning both games being 20-point comebacks. But also, and as much as I've loved some of the Pacers' play, this is a bit of a lucky stretch where there have been a lot of Cavs injuries. I mean, if you got to play any team without their second, third, and like fifth best player or sixth best player, you should probably be able to beat them. I don't care who you are. Or like, but then they get those guys back, although Mobley was not looking himself, Garland was not looking himself, and the Cavs are able to have a pretty easy victory behind a second 40-point effort for Donovan Mitchell. How are we feeling about this series? Where are we at? What are we enjoying?
I'm enjoying Donovan Mitchell. He's averaging 40 a night in this series. Unbelievable. Like one of the best playoff players like you'll ever watch. He gets downhill so effortlessly, attacks the basket, just with fearlessness that few other players have. Shoots a three for anybody, gets to his spots, looks really comfortable. And yeah, I mean, the Pacers do go up 2-0. This series like felt over after those games. The Cavs are so much better, and we understood that. But you're going to lose the opening two games at home. Like no one's coming back from that. It's a 7-game series. You have to win 4 out of 7, and to go down like that, I mean, I still don't know. I still don't know if the Pacers are going to be able, or if the Cavs are going to be able to come back from that. But I wanted to note that even though Evan Mobley didn't look himself, they put him at the top of a 2-3 zone for a bit of that game, and they just crushed him. I think that's they really pulled away in those moments. Like Mobley, his ability to roam around and guard everybody and disrupt everything. He's the deep boy for a reason.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting to see if this series just turns out in this bizarre way where the Pacers go up 2-0 and they're like, oh, well, the Pacers are actually going to pull it off, and then the Cavs get their guys back and they just win 4 in a row. I actually think that there's a pretty decent chance of that happening. Like they looked like a different class of team in that last win.
I mean, even in game 1 and game 2, the Cavs were able to build a 20-point lead despite losing half of their playable players, half of their like key rotation. I mean, what they maybe would want to go 7 deep on a normal night, but Mobley and Garland are taking up more of those minutes than Ty Jerome is. Or
Did they start Sam Merrill in that game? Like
yeah, Sam Merrill, real playoff minutes, real
Kings
playoff
legend.
needs.
Kings legend Sam Merrill, another guy that's good that we wasted and didn't actually keep. Along with Struess. I think he was in here too. I think he was here too at some point.
Yeah, the game 2, Mitchell dropping 48 points to build this lead. Like he just ran out of gas. It was a wild comeback. It was a phonetic comeback for Indiana, and by all means, give them their credit. I thought Pascal Siakam has looked really good this series. I thought Tyrese Halliburton's looked good. Andrew Nemhard is a playoff abnormality. The way he rises,
Yeah.
Neesmith has been special. I guess Turner's been all right. Like this has not been the Turner experience. It's but like no shade towards him. But still, they got a 20-point lead with Donovan Mitchell basically playing by himself. And so I understand coming back from down 2-0, losing home courts that dramatically of fashion. You got to win another one in Indiana, and you got to win the remaining 2 home games. I think that's a doable thing for Cleveland.
It all comes down to the next game. It's the biggest game. 2-2, and the Cavs are winning in 6. Or it's 3-1, and you'd be a historic anomaly to win that series. It's going to be an intense game.
Yeah. Any predictions?
I actually do think
Cavs in 6.
I don't know. I kind of think Indiana's going to win the next one.
Nice.
I just think you're going to get. I don't know what that means with the series. I imagine that Indiana wins that, but I really think it's going to be a 3-1 lead. Your stars get injured at the worst possible time. You rarely recover from that.
Mm-hmm. And there has not been the Indiana 3-point barrage game. There has not been the Indiana. Everything clicked right for us on offense, and that game is going to happen. I'm taking Cavs in 7, but I think that Indiana 3-point barrage is coming. And what makes me really mad is I listened to a lot of Bill Simmons lately, and Simmons was on this being a 7-game series. He picked Pacers in 7 at like the jump, and I'm like, if you get that right, because of all of these Cavs injuries, you are the luckiest man alive. But like,
he's like, I told you.
Sometimes better be lucky than good.
I told you guys. Pacers are just as good.
The evening game tomorrow is, I believe, OKC in Denver. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Which I'm splitting my allegiances. Got the OKC hat, got the Nuggets jersey in the background on here, so that way I can maintain neutrality. Should the NBA announce that Shea is the MVP before the game?
Oh, like and Adam Silver gives the trophy at half court. I think they used to do that.
No, you got to give the you let it leak. You let Shams announce it before Game 4, so that way it's in the atmosphere, it's in the environment, and then you give it to him in OKC for Game 5.
Yeah, pretty cool. It's been such an interesting series though, where these two like MVP candidates having historically great seasons have been fine.
Yeah,
like fine to bad at times. Yeah, throughout these 3 games. I think it's so interesting, especially last game where I think throughout the entire playoffs, a lot of people said like SGA is going to be there, but can Jalen Williams be a good second option? Like, do they have enough offense around him? And the answer has been, yeah, actually, like those guys have looked pretty good throughout this playoff run, especially in
Game 1 wasn't the best.
No, certainly not. But still, and then on the other end, it's like Aaron Gordon is the greatest player ever, and Jokic didn't have any help, and then he got carried to a win. It's all over the place, and all like the narratives that have been going on seem all twisted. But
I think I've decided that I don't want Alex Caruso to look like he's a pillar in OKC. It's like in Game 2, where all the other role players were clicking, I was like, okay, we can actually scale back Caruso's minutes. We don't need him. Like in my mind, he is Mr. Dependable. Like, I don't want to use like a 2K ratings thing, but like, on like a scale of 1 to 10, like Caruso is always going to give you like a 7. He's like good game 7, bad game, or like the high range of Caruso 7.5. The bad range of Caruso is 6.5. They need more guys that are playing at like in a level 8 or above that. They need Hartenstein to not get benched to start overtime for Caruso. They need Aaron Wiggins to come out and play well. Isaiah Joe only got 3 minutes that last game, which I thought was really weird. But like, they need Cason Wallace to play well, and they need those guys to play well enough that it's like, all right, their ranges can vary more. Maybe they go up to 8, but maybe they drop down to 4s. If Caruso is looking like a dependable pillar, that's a bad sign for OKC. They want the other role players to be able to do more. And I love Caruso. It's just it's a statement more about the other guys than it is about Caruso.
Dylan, who do you think's gonna win this series?
Denver.
Yeah.
I think that I think that they've kind of figured Shea out. Like they know how to guard him. Like his his counter moves to his counter moves that is really hard to plan for in the regular season. I think that when you play the dude like 3 times in a row, you start to like actually figure those out. And he's got like 2 moves. It's like, if your hands are down, then I'm going to shoot, and if your hands are up, then I'm going to draw a foul. But I think they've like figured out how to defend him a lot better than OKC have figured anything else out the other way. And you got like playoff Aaron Gordon is like the best player in the NBA for some reason.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we had concerns about OKC, or at least I did, coming into this, as to whether the offensive creation would be there. And I think that it's kind of fallen off. Like they had like a 100 offensive rating against the Nuggets, who are like a bottom 10 defense. And I don't think that they've got enough creation to win the series. And Shea just isn't the best player in the series.
How many more playoff games or playoff series until Denver isn't the bottom 10 defense anymore? Because it was the same thing against the Clippers, and they smothered them. And now against OKC, who should be this elite offensive team that rains at least threes, very Boston Celtics like, and that's not working either. You think after the 2023 MVP race, and I got burned by Embiid pretty bad, that I would have learned my lesson? And I did not. Although I try not to be too harsh for SGA. Jokic was 0-10 from 3 last game. He was not great. Other guys like Tatum have had ups and downs throughout the playoffs, not shooting well. Luka got picked apart pretty bad. Ant's been on a really cold shooting streak. I mean, the playoff defense has been intense. It's been a defense-focused playoffs, really more than I think it has been in previous years.
Yeah, the thing that Jokic can always just bring to the table is, even when he's not hitting, he's rebounding, and when he's not, he's not hitting, he can be passing. Like he does other things well enough that if you shut down one option of his game, he's got other ones. He's got counters, as Dylan would say.
And like even just like him being on the floor, like anytime he touches the ball, that is like putting pressure on your defense. Like, and when he's not doing anything, when he's standing there with the ball, like you have to react and focus on him.
He's one of those guys where even the 10th three, the 10th three that he misses, that there's still just like a scramble, to get over there to cover him. It's part of why I tweeted that he's better than Hakeem on our all-time list, and then we should make that adjustment. Just watching him uplift this group to beat this 68-win regular season team, it's just been phenomenal. And even though, again, like last game wasn't his best, he just operates at a different level. He makes these pieces so much better than they would be without him. Michael Porter Jr. would be selling hot dogs outside the fucking arena, like if he wasn't playing with Jokic right now. And I really feel that way.
Actually, Aaron, he doesn't eat meat, so.
Oh, does he not?
Well, of course.
Vegan,
that's why he's selling the hot dogs. You can't get high on your own supply. You only want vegans to sell hot dogs.
Do they have vegan hot dogs in Denver?
Did I say Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter?
Michael Porter.
Okay, just making sure that was Aaron Gordon would be wealthily employed.
I do also want to shout out Jamal Murray, who's and all of the Aaron Gordon love it's kind of just jumped straight from Jokic to Gordon. Murray has also been really good, but at times, and some of his downhill attacking, I don't feel like I've seen that as much from him in past years. But he tried. He got fouled on it, didn't finish the dunk, but he tried to just have a hammer home highlight dunk in a way that I've never seen Murray attack like that before.
Yeah,
He's
I
jumping again.
I
Like it's
remember the play. I was like, "What is this guy doing?
Right?
Where's
Like,
that coming
no,
from?"
you can't get hurt. You can't risk it.
It really is unbelievable. Jokic is going to go throughout his entire career probably without playing with another All-Star. I mean, I can't project that far, but at least so far. And yet, like Aaron Gordon, this crazy playoff riser. Jamal Murray is statistically the greatest playoff riser of all time. He's just unbelievable.
Yeah. And like he's been, I think, underrated for them. I do believe so. Like the minutes totals for him are insane. Like as much as they like can't do anything without Jokic, like they can't do anything without Murray either. And the fact that he's able to like play so much and still play so hard, while being like a focal point on offense, while being attacked like on every play on defense because he's the only guy on the team that can't defend. And like he's defended Shea perfectly fine, like he hasn't been taken advantage of there. Defended Harden and Kawhi perfectly fine, wasn't able to be taken advantage of, getting all these high minutes. And it's just like crazy for a dude whose like reputation is that he's always out of shape. Like he's doesn't like work out or something in the off season. Like he just comes into the season and he's out of shape, and then he's playing 40 minutes and like heavily involved in every single position on both ends. It's crazy.
And I think they'd make mincemeat out of Minnesota. Or God forbid, if Golden State wins that series somehow without Steph Curry. It feels like there's a path to the finals again. And who knows what the next game will hold, given OKC still has so much talent, so much like defensive presence. But man, it's like, it feels like Jokic is going to fall face first into a finals run.
Yeah. I was talking about that with a friend yesterday. I was like, isn't it going to be insane when like all this crazy shit happens, all these crazy games, and then we just end up with like the exact same finals as last year?
But we can't have the same finals last year. Because finals last year was Dallas.
Sorry.
Finals like
before.
The last couple of champions getting back there, the Nuggets,
like Boston, Denver.
Yeah.
Like it'd be the winner of
you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it circulated, the fact that we had 7 of the same 8 teams that made the second round last year back this year, and the one exception is of course the Dallas Mavericks. You're like, wonder what happened to Dallas. What happened? I'm like,
and they were replaced by Luka's new team, right?
No, Luka's new team did not make the second round. Sadly.
Oh.
They fired their coach. Like a week before the playoffs started, and they look as good as they do. And the Nuggets coach looks like the kid from No David. You know the book? No David, no. Go ahead. Look, I'll give you a second. Look up No David.
Wait, the book No David?
Yeah, the kid's book. That's what the Nuggets coach looks like.
That's a terrifying image.
And then look
up. That's a terrifying image.
Nuggets coach.
Okay, I can see it.
Yeah, they do. Come on, they look just like each other.
Yeah. And his name's even David as well.
No David grew up. He grew up. And I've really, honestly, I know it's like, this is how much we can really recognize for coaching in such a short amount of time. But I like Adelman's like post game pressers. I just feel like he's comfortable in a weird way that many interim coaches in the heat of the playoffs I wouldn't feel like.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely secured himself a job, especially the way like he's out coaching Mark Daigneault, who's like top 3 NBA coach right now in this playoff series.
There is something to the nepotism of giving your son a job and letting him work in the league for a decade. Adelman getting into the NBA through his father, also getting to coach alongside Flip Saunders, whose son Ryan Saunders is one of his lead assistants. I didn't realize
He's
that
great
was
at it.
the Nuggets like coaching trio, which is Mike Malone, son of former NBA head coach, David Adelman, son of former NBA head coach, and Ryan and Saunders, son of former NBA head coach. Like it just
Yeah.
It's just the Nepo baby
They
squad.
got they
Yeah.
got in their blood. They got in their blood. I wanted to
just need
talk a
Van
little bit
Gundy.
about because game 1, the down 3 foul or the up 3 fouling instantaneously. How could you possibly shoot yourself in the foot in such a horrific way? The fouling up 3 thing has been kind of controversial, and in a way, it's just because it's a shitty thing to watch. It's like I want to
Mhm.
see, someone let's play some defense and let's try to win these
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
What-
actually think that should be a rule change. They should nerf that.
I agree. It's just
Yeah.
not fun. It's the end of the game is already such a fucking drag that it's like you're telling me we're not even going to play out this scenario. And I'm glad in a way. I'm glad like morally that OKC got burned doing that.
Yeah.
Any intentional foul that's not trying to make a play on the ball, that
Yeah.
it should be 2 free throws on ball back, or 2 free throws where the team gets to choose their free throw shooter.
I think if you foul when you're up 3, the other team should get to shoot 3 free throws.
I just don't want more free throws.
I think they should have the free throw competitions at the end, where it's just like all right, that was a foul, and at the very end of the game, every team shoots all the free throws they earned. It's just one big free throw competition. yeah.
Nice.
They just
My-
all right,
my-
go ahead, 30 free throws, like knock them down.
My proposal to speed up free throws is if it's like a 3-shot foul, your first free throw, if you make it, it counts for 3 points, and you're just done. If you miss the first one, the second one counts for 2 points. If you make it, you're done. And if you miss that one, the third one just counts for 1 point. You make it and make your miss like it's live.
Do you think guys should get assists if they make the pass that leads to a foul that leads to 2 made free throws?
I don't, but I also wish that we tracked like passes that led to shots more than passes that led to makes, because like, if you make that kick out pass, you drive and kick to the corner and the guy shoots it and misses, like you did the same amount of work as the guy who drives and kicks to the guy who catches in the corner and makes it. Like, I just,
That is interesting.
like, I'm fine having that be 2 different statistics, but I would like that. And I guess they do have it. They have potential assists.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what that would be.
And like maybe we could have a third potential of like potential but fouled or something like that. Pass that led to fouled. But I don't know. I'm picking Denver. I picked Denver before or when we started these things. I technically actually have both Denver and OKC in our wins pool. Which, how are you guys feeling about your wins pool? Dylan, you're down to just Boston and Indiana?
Yeah, it kind of fell apart. It started off so with such potential, and then it's fallen apart. It's
Kind of
looking
mad I
like I'm gonna
traded you
lose.
Indiana.
Did you guys make a trade?
Yeah, I traded Milwaukee for Indiana.
When?
During the
I
series.
texted you about this.
Oh yeah.
It was like right beforehand. We were sitting there doing our preview for the playoffs. And I was like, damn, I really should have taken Milwaukee. I just believe in Giannis. I believe that even without Dame, he's going to do this because Giannis is superhuman. And I was like, Dylan, we make a trade? And he's like, fuck, sure.
Yeah. That's a great. You traded for the Doc Rivers team. My goodness, dude. I feel pretty good about my teams. I'm glad I have 3. I think if I didn't blow my picks on the 8th seed and 2 play-in teams that didn't make it, I'd be in a much better spot. But before the Steph injury, I honestly thought I was going to win. I thought I was going to have 3 conference finals nominations. So
yeah, I'm feeling good with OKC, Denver, and Minnesota. I'm completely eliminated in the Eastern Conference, which kind of expected, but I'm feeling really strong about my chances of having a finals team.
yeah,
Almost guaranteed. Let's skip over. Well, no. Let's move to the Boston in New York game. And my question to segue into this one is we've had a new pope elected. He's Midwestern Pope. He's a Chicagoan. But as the NBA has been abuzz, Joe Mazzulla, very deeply Catholic, man of faith. Does having a new pope inspire him? Or does the Pope's Villanova roots give the Knicks the edge? How does Pope Leo affect this series?
Man, tough question. That is a tough question. In my head, I think it helps Boston more. I feel like Missoula, that affects Missoula at a personal level.
Yeah, maybe that's why Boston actually lost the first 2 games, is like Joe Mazzulla
No
was just
Pope.
so taken out. Like in the what's the, do you guys know the word for like the Latin word meaning like the period where there is no pope?
I do not.
Doesn't matter. Anyway,
No.
but he just can't focus in that period. He's like, what are we gonna do without a spiritual leader of the physical world?
Do you think he was watching the live stream of the like chimney shoot to see if it was going to put out black or white smoke at all times? He just had
Yeah.
like text alerts going on, and he's coaching the game. He's also got the live stream on his phone, so he's checking back and forth. Is that why Boston lost these games?
100%. He was a flock without a shepherd, but now he has direction again.
I got the Latin term. I'm just gonna botch this pronunciation. Seed vacante, open seat, empty seat, basically.
There we go.
He's very upset during the Sid vacante.
Yeah.
I thought Boston, it's interesting. I feel like Boston looked exactly like they did in the other games because they play the same style and they have the same system. And in this one, their threes just hit. And it's just such an insane series because Boston is better. Their defense is better. Their offensive system is better. If they just hit threes at an average mark, fuck it, a below average mark. They can shoot terribly, but not like the worst shooting ever. As long as you don't have the worst shooting ever, you should win these games pretty handily. And they got these just ridiculous, the misses, like 45, 47 missed threes. I forget the number in game 1. And all of a sudden you lose a 2-point game.
Yeah, it was 45. They went 15 for 60 from the
God
NBA.
damn. and so you're down. And so you're down 2-0. You head back to New York, and I thought New York looked terrible because they get hit in the mouth by an average. I mean, it was a very good 3-point shooting performance, but regression back toward the mean, and they just can't keep up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Boston was shooting 25% from 3 through the first 2 games this year, and I do think I think an underrated part of this is the fact that during the regular season, Kristaps Porzingis and Sam Hauser were their 2 best 3-point shooters by percentage amongst guys who shot like 4 or 5 attempts a game. Like these were 2 of their best shooters, and these are the 2 guys that got injured in game 1.
It's a lot of attempts.
Yeah, if you're putting up 10 attempts a game and you're making 40% of them, and you lose those 2 guys and you're replacing them in the rotation with more Al Horford minutes, more Luke Cornett minutes, that hurts. And like it's also been forcing them more to a double big lineup, because they don't necessarily have as many other like playable wings. You just kind of downshift.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is the flirting versus harassment. Jaden Ivey taking 45 threes a game at 40%. Hello, HR, somebody help me. Kristaps taking 5 threes a game at 40%. It's fuck yeah, best 3-point shooter on the team.
Yeah, well, one is the shooting guard, the undersized 2, who you want to have shooting threes and just doesn't do it as well as Beasley. And the other is the center, who also protects the rim, rebounds, and adds spacing to things.
5 threes a game. It's a ton.
Yeah.
I wonder how many guys are doing that.
78. How many of them are centers? How many of them are shooting guards?
That's a good question. I think about like Towns is probably the best shooting big man in the league, and just couldn't really get it going today. I feel like when a player is playing poorly, no one looks worse than Karl Anthony Towns. Like the worst version of Towns is just a hard fucking watch. It really is.
Yeah.
I just
almost
think
like almost anti-Jokician, where we were saying that like even when like he's not hitting, he's still hitting. Whereas with Towns, when he's not hitting, it's like, oh fuck, everything else around it is also awful.
I would describe it as clumsy. the barreling towards the rim. It's those like this is like the Towns play in my mind, and he's had a very good season. Like I put him on all NBA teams, but he barrels towards the rim, shoots it off like the glass, and then in the effort to get his bad shot, goes over the back and fouls somebody, and it's just like this brutal 2-for-1. Yeah, I think the Knicks paid the price in a way for the lack of defense that Towns is going to bring. You know, it's so funny. I saw a sports science video recently, like a throwback one. Remember those? Where it was like,
Yeah.
how hard is Kevin Love really boxed out? And he's like boxing
Kevin
out
Love
sumo
boxing out
wrestling.
sumo wrestling. Yeah.
And this was like how much like defensive range Karl Anthony Towns has, and he's like, 'cause I think he was in college at the time or around then. He was very young, and it was like Towns can defend the entire paint, and this like crazy wingspan. He gets all these places, and it just never really turned out that way.
Yeah, and then he somehow just can't contest any shots. Was it? What was like the really dumb one where they were saying like big men struggle to shoot free throws, and maybe it's because their hands are so big. And so they had like Sasha Vujacic shoot like with these like big fake hands to see if that's if that's true. Like no, it's purely mental.
It's honestly though, like I think about Dwight Howard. It's not a hand. Well, one, yeah, he is holding like. Imagine shooting with a Nerf ball. It's challenging, but his shoulders are so far apart. Like try to flatten your chest out as much as possible, and then take that shot. You can't bring your hands together.
It's also just like big men don't shoot a ton of shots. Like as big men, you learn you do more hooks, you do more like kind of push shot. That's like the jump shot motion is not as standardized. Like if you've done poster big man work and big man camps, like you work on other things. It's like you will naturally have shot fewer free throw style shots or fewer like standard set shots than a guard who in like training will that's all they'll shoot. So it's always been my like complaint about this whole debate is like, yeah, big men practice other shots more than guards. But that has nothing to do with Knicks Boston or Knicks Celtics. Boston came back, they stormed back, took this game. OG, really rough night for him. Karl Anthony Towns finally did make a three. He had not made a three in the first two games of the series. New York neither of these teams have much of the bench. I mean, it's Peyton Pritchard for Boston, and it's like Miles McBride and Mitchell Robinson for the Knicks. What maneuvers do either of them have to make to try to win this series or really, take firm control of it?
I don't think there's any maneuvers at all. Like
Yeah,
I think the Knicks. Go ahead, Don.
Sorry, I'll say it in a dumb way, then you can expand. It's a sort of a dumb thing to say, but it's like Knicks play better and Boston 3-pointers go in. Like that's the adjustment.
Essentially, if you're Boston, you're like, this is great. Like we had just the anomaly of anomalies for the first two games. That's not going to happen again. Let's just win these games, knock down 35% of our threes and get out of here. And it's totally possible. It's totally possible. But again, it goes back to like, we're going to have a game 4 in New York to go up 3-1. And I just, it's so challenging to get out of that 2-1 hole at home. There's actually something I was going to find here. Talk amongst yourselves. 1 second.
I am very much in the Knicks bandwagon here because one, just fuck Boston, and like two, as a Laker Raptor fan, getting to watch OG and Josh Hart attack Boston makes me really happy. But I just don't think New York has the pieces this year. Like the best option is Brunson and Towns going off offensively. And the Pistons showed the model in the first round of having Tobias Harris take away Karl Anthony Towns or really pressure him on the perimeter to the point where he only shot 2 threes in games 1 and games 2 against Boston. And if you can limit Towns offensively, a lot of what New York does falls apart. Like, he needs to be a threat. And if he's getting baited into driving more, trying to overpower Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown or outmaneuver Al Horford, like, those aren't necessarily the possessions I want for the Knicks. And so I know they're up 2-0 or up 2-1 now, but I don't feel good about it. It feels like both them and Indiana's 2-1 leads feel incredibly shaky to me.
And they do. And there's actually data to back that up. And this is what I was looking for. So when a team goes up 2-0 in a series, and the first two games are home games for the team that has won, they are 217 and 19 in those series. So like 92% of the time they win. But if the away team wins the first two games, they're only 24 and 4, much smaller sample size that rarely happens. That's 16% of the time. The team with who goes down 0-2 ends up coming back. So there's more of a precedent for a team to go on the road, seal 2 games, and then lose the series anyways because they're probably the worst team.
This reminds me of when the Lakers, I forget it was 2006 or 2007 with Kobe, go up 3-1 against the Suns, and it was the 7 seed versus the 2 seed, and then the Suns storm back and win the series. And I remember this because a lot of my friends, knowing that I'm a Lakers fan, were like, man, that must suck to be one of the few teams that ever lost a 3-1 lead. Like, doesn't that hurt? And I'm like, statistically, you are more likely to blow a 3-1 lead than you are to upset a 2 seed as the 7 seed. Those were the numbers at the time. I don't know what they're at now, but like, yeah, when you get into these very rare occurrences where would you say that happened 28 times with the road team winning the first 2 games?
Yeah,
like
28 times.
You get into such these small sample sizes that, like, for Cleveland, hey, if they had healthy guys, they're probably not down to Boston. If they don't have this insane 3-point shooting abnormality, they're probably not down on 2-0. It's like the comebacks feel really possible in my mind.
I'll mention the 4 wins. 1994, Hakeem goes down 2-0 to Charles Barkley in Phoenix and wins that series. 2005, Dallas goes down 2-0 to T-Max Rockets, who wins that series. In 2017, the Rajon Rondo Bulls against the Celtics, and they end up the Celtics still win that series. And then 2021 with Dylan's Clippers, lost the first 2 at home against Luka and Dallas, but then won that series in 7.
I was legitimately pulling up Tracy McGrady's page because I was like, I remember him doing this against Dallas. And I was thinking it was 2007, but because it was an amazing series. And I'm pretty sure the road team won every single game except for the last one in that series. Like, if memory serves me correctly, it was just a fantastic series.
So for that 2017 Bulls series, was it Rondo that got hurt? Yeah, so Rondo gets hurt. And that series ends up going just 6. So the other ones are 7-game series.
I have the T-Mac Dirk 7-game series on VHS.
Oh, nice.
I recorded the reruns of those games on this little. My family had this like travel 7-inch, like the TV that you plug into cars and like sit between the passenger seats, like in the late 90s, and I could record on that. And so I just took old VHS tapes and record games. Yeah. All right. So what are the predictions here? Are the Knicks fortunate, but not? Is their luck going to run out then?
I kind of think the Knicks are going to win this series. I feel better about the Knicks than I do about Indiana. But I really think like this 2-0 deficit is brutal. 2-0 becomes 3. It becomes 3-1 like all of a sudden, and 3-1's harder than 2-0. You guys need more help with these math problems. I'm pretty good at them. You need 4 games to win the series, and you got to get to 4 first. The bigger number, it's pretty important.
Nate, you mentioned that that other series has been the road team won every game except Game 7. That's kind of how I feel like this is going to play out.
I have a great stat for you guys. So if you are the fuck, 1 second. 1 second. Wait. Okay. So if a team loses the first 2 home games, then wins game 3, and then loses game 4 to go down 1-3, they're 0-6. Never happened. That
Okay.
like that structure has never happened. So you have to tie the series up. You cannot go down 3-1.
Without too much effort, could you find out what happened? What do the odds jump back to just by winning game 3?
Yeah, sure. So you lose the first 2 at home. Let's see, lose the first 2. You lose the first 2 at home, and then you win. 1 second, guys.
Game 3 on the road.
Yeah. Not great. Okay, so teams that have
Not
gone.
great. How many times has it happened?
So it's 4-24, and then if they win the next one, it'd be 4-9. So every single
Okay.
team, obviously, like every single team that has come back from an 0-2 deficit has to win game 3. That has happened for these teams,
Sure.
and then you have to win. If you win the next one as well, then it's then the teams are actually 4-3 in those series. So your odds are back in your favor. Blah blah blah.
So you're saying whoever wins game 4 is going to win the series?
Yes, essentially.
Is in my mind. Like, winning this game 3 is huge because it dropped them from being 4-24 to 4-9 in the past record. 4-9 is this happens a third of the time that you make this comeback, basically. Well then, Golden State and Minnesota are currently playing right now. Oh, Curry, I believe, has been ruled out until game 5, or is it through game 5?
Guys, he's not coming back from this. There's no chance. I think they're saying we'll look at it after game 5. No one has come back from a hamstring. It's one of those things where it's not like a finger or something. Like you hurt your hamstring, you go back out there and you hurt it again, and that just happens if you rush this.
Yeah, I think the average games missed for this hamstring injury was like 10 games. Is the average games missed?
Yeah. Warriors are getting playoff Jimmy right now. Kuminga's cooking a bit, but I thought Golden State looked horrible last game. Their offensive creation dwindles down to nothing when Steph is out. And it's interesting. I think the Wolves are so much better, so much more talented. They have the size. They have the best player at times. And then they're just, I describe them as like uncoordinated.
So are either of you guys dual screening this experience right now and watching this game on the side and give us any sort of updates?
No, this is I'm locked in. I'm focused.
This is
on
the
you
sole
guys.
focus because I'm seeing. We're currently at the end of the first. It's 21-21. I'm seeing that Trace Jackson Davis has been dusted off, which is something that Zach Lowe brought up on the Low Post Pod, or the Zach Lowe Show, whatever it's now called, on the Ringer as being a good move for Golden State. Apparently, over the last couple of years, Trace Jackson Davis has played really well against Minnesota. So I was hoping that someone would have a nice take, but I wanted to at least mention that so our listeners, see it and want to write in and tell us why that was the best move.
That's interesting.
To read that at the start of the next episode.
I do know that Trace Jackson Davis is the worst finisher around the rim in the league statistically. He had the least amount of points above average around with layups and dunks.
So you're saying that I shouldn't want him to come to LA and be Luka's rim finisher?
No,
I've been eyeing
not
it.
at all.
I'm like,
he'd be the actual statistically worst candidate for that job. And like honestly, it's not just like centers either. Like him and I think it was I can't believe I'm blanking on the number 1 overall draft pick's name. Risache. Him and
Sar.
Risache
Oh.
were the we're him and you him and Risache like the worst finisher on the basket. So it's like a 19-year-old and Trey Jackson Davis.
You were going for like a struggling rookie that couldn't score well, and my mind just instantly went to Sar. Sorry, number 2
No, you're all
pick.
good. Yeah.
Well, Dylan, you're rocking the Golden State Warriors hat. What's going to have to break right for the Warriors to survive the Curry absence?
I don't know, man. I just can't see a path forward where they pull it out. Like there's always the possibility of like, like what's happened so far in this one quarter of this game, where like Julius Randle just completely falls off again, and Ant's not hitting, and then it becomes really difficult to score. And playoff Jimmy is a thing. Like he can he carry them like maybe through one game, but I can't see a path where that is a sustainable option throughout the rest of the series.
There's nothing that ages better, makes your podcast age like fine wine than giving live takes to the box score of a game. Really, it really adds a nice touch. This is gonna be useless in 15 minutes. Although I'll say, just like it, if you told me that Edwards and Randall were combined, but like 5 for 15, and Jimmy had 11 first quarter points, like the Warriors have this game. But it's I think the Minnesota will still win, and they're even they're pulling away. I think as we speak. No, it's tied. But
oh, is it? Warriors just took the lead. It's all over for
knows?
Minnesota. 25-23.
All right. Here, I'll do my I can't believe. Wait. How does it go? I'm not surprised that Golden State, Minnesota won that game. Just splice that however you need.
I totally agree with you that that's the way this game was always going to go.
All right, Aaron. Probable chairs. How can where can the people find you?
Possible Chairs on Twitter, Possible Chairs on TikTok, my Patreon for all-time list suggestions. I just opened up that chat. If you want to comment on our all-time list, you can do that for free. And this podcast every once in a while.
Dylan, where can the people find you?
On my LA Clippers Thirst Traps OnlyFans.
You find me here.
Bringing good karma for the team.
You find me here. You find me on TikTok, Nate_HoopsTemple. You can email the show, hoopstemple@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for listening.